Hi, welcome to the Big Data series. In this episode we'll discuss about Apache Hadoop, installing and configuring a Hadoop cluster. My name is Ahmed Khan. So in this Hadoop cluster setup, we're going to have a Hyper-V 2012 R2 as our virtual machine platform. We're going to have 5 virtual machines. One is going to act as a Hadoop name node, and we're going to have 4 data nodes. So the name node is going to act as a secondary name node as well, which is a checkpoint name node, and also it's going to run the job tracker for MapReduce, and the data nodes are going to run the data node daemon and the task tracker daemon. We're going to use as I was saying, we're going to use Microsoft Hyper-V 2012 R2 as our virtual machine platform. It can be downloaded from Microsoft website. And the virtual machine operating system, we're going to have Ubuntu Server 12.04 long-term support Linux. The Hadoop version, we're going to use Apache Hadoop 1.2.1, and the Java version, we're going to have OpenJDK 7. In the future episodes we'll have Hadoop 2. We'll discuss about how to upgrade Hadoop and how to set up high availability using NFS, and also we'll talk about HBase, Zookeeper, Flume. We'll discuss about scoops as well in the future episode. But in this episode, we'll just create a distributed Hadoop cluster. So the first step is installing Hyper-V. So I just have a desktop machine. I'm just gonna install Hyper-V 2012 R2 on it. Just a 4 gig i5 3.3 gigahertz machine. So you could use VMware. You could it could be a physical machine, or it could be a Amazon Web Services, or it could be Rackspace. But the concept is very similar. So installing Hyper-V server is like any other Microsoft installation. So I already created some partitions. Let's delete those partitions and recreate them. So new partition, apply, okay. So it's creating the boot file and allocating space and click next. I'm gonna fast forward it a bit. Nobody wants to watch the paint dry. Okay. So once it's finishing up, and reboot. Make sure you take the boot media from it. In my case, it's a USB stick. boot up. It's going to reboot a few times and then it will boot up, and it'll ask for a admin password. Make sure it's a strong password, because password policy is enforced by default. Password is changed. We have to do a few configuration here. We'll change the computer name. We'll configure remote management. We'll enable remote desktop, and we'll set up the network settings to a permanent IP address. So first thing, I'll change the computer name, Hyperserve 1. That needs a reboot. We reboot the system. Okay. Log in again. We'll configure remote management. It's number 4. So this will allow us to connect into this Hyper-V server and then create virtual machines. So enable remote management. Then let's enable ping as well to diagnose any for troubleshooting purposes. So I'll try to create a user with a weak password, and it's gonna tell me off. If you want to create a new user, you can create it, but make sure you give a strong password. So there you go. But we'll use just the administrator for now, because it's a test or a demo setup. Let me configure the network card's IP address. So we don't want our server set to DHCP. When the lease expires and when the IP address gets renewed, that will give us headaches. So, and also it's a good practice to set a permanent IP for your server. So I'll use my router as a gateway. Don't really have a DNS server running at the moment, but I will point this machine to my router as my DNS server. It's not a very effective DNS server, but in the future episodes we'll talk about setting up bind 9. The Zookeeper core heavily relies on bind 9, so on the DNS side of things, so we'll discuss in the future, but for now we'll just edit the host file and we'll play around with it. So remote desktop enable, yeah. So I'm just going to allow any machine to connect to it, and let's do a reboot. Number 12. And that's it. Our Hyper-V is configured and ready to go. So the next step would be installing Ubuntu server as a virtual machine. So first step would be connecting to the Hyper-V server using Hyper-V tools. I'm using the Hyper-V tools from these guys, fine9.com, because the R2 is not back. I mean, I can't connect using Windows 7 machines because R2 is not backward compatible. You really need a Windows 8 Professional or Ultimate to connect to your Hyper-V 2012 server, R2 server. So I'm just going to use the tools from these guys. It's free for demo and personal use, but you have to actually buy a license for professional use. So it's about 40 euros or something. Please check their website. So the next step would be creating a virtual machine and then installing Ubuntu Server 12.04 long-term support on it. So installation of Ubuntu on Hyper-V. So what I did was I downloaded the Ubuntu boot ISO media from Ubuntu website, and then I copied that into my Hyper-V server, and also I installed the Hyper-V tools on my machine. So this is the Hyper-V tool. I'm using version 2.04, and then I just created a virtual machine by just connecting to my Hyper server, which is the Hyper-V server, using the IP address, and right click new VM, and then I just created a VM. But I haven't really installed anything on it, but I will point that machine's boot media, and then we'll do it now. So that's our Hyper-V server, and you right click and then you actually create. So I'm just going to browse into that server ISO, and there is the boot media. So right click on that machine, go to settings, and then DVD drive. I'm just going to use the ISO file and browse to that VM, Ubuntu. Okay, apply. So this VM is just 512 meg RAM capacity, one processor, 20 gig hard drive. It's just a basic machine. So and then right click, start VM, and connect to it. So and then let's install Ubuntu. Install Ubuntu server. So it's detecting the network interface, and it'll try to configure IP address, and it'll try to find a DHCP server. So it's looking for a DHCP server. At the moment our network card is not connected into any virtual switch, so it's going to fail, and it will ask us questions. Failed. Continue. Let's configure network IP address manually, and then let's call it 192.168.168.111. continue. Netmask is 255.255.255. Gateway, I'm going to point it to my router. Name server address, let's have it as 254 for now. It's detecting the link again, but there is nothing connected to it at the moment. So let's go ahead and create a virtual switch and try to so virtual network, external, add, and then let's create a switch called switch, and then that's gonna connect to our Realtek network card. Okay. Warning, you may lose the connection. Yeah, well, I don't recommend doing this when the server is installing something that may kick us out, but I've gone ahead and done it. Okay. We still have our connection, so settings, network 4. Let's try connecting into the network switch now. Apply. Okay. So there's our switch. Go back to close the connection, reconnect, connect to the VM. Hey, there you go, we're back on. Let's give a host name. Domain name, we'll leave it for now. In the future episodes, we'll try to create. We'll put this machine into a part of a domain, and we'll run a proper DNS. So I'm just creating a user. By default, the root is disabled in Ubuntu. So don't want to encrypt my home directory. No, thank you. So time, location. Okay. So it's asking now. It's about partitioning the disk. So we got a 20 gig disk. So and it's asking me, do I run LVM, Linux volume management? No. We'll just use the whole disk, and yeah, we don't really need to assign swap partition and stuff like that. Those days are gone. I mean, this is a solid state drive in it, and it's a VM disk, so for what we are doing, it's not really crucial to actually go and tweak those settings. So installing the base system. So we're just gonna have a Ubuntu server operating system without any GUI environment. We're just gonna have SSH server running on it. That's about it, really, and we'll build on top of that. In a production environment, you'll have to take a lot of care into the operating system, and on what do you need and what you don't need. and assigning the partitions, and then it's all crucial. There is a big debate about whether the RAID is good, or just can you just run just as a bunch of disks. So we'll discuss in future episodes about optimizing the Hadoop cluster and for production environment, and also we'll run some benchmarking and stuff. But for now, sandbox setup, we'll just go ahead and install Ubuntu as default with minimum stuff. I'm just gonna fast forward it a little bit. So it's asking me what about automatic updates. So you can have security, but no, we'll just we don't want any automatic updates. If there is any update, we'll do it manually. We don't when we go into production cluster, we don't want breaking the system by just an automatic update. OpenSSH server, that's the only thing we want from this. So let's just select that. But if you miss it here, you can always go and do a apt-get install and install OpenSSH server. So it's installing. Then yeah, but you have to define the master boot record. Do you want to install it? Yes, please. Yeah, installation is complete now. So we're gonna install OpenJDK on it. We're gonna download and unzip Hadoop 1.2.1. We're gonna generate a RSA key and gonna put it inside the authorized keys list. We're gonna configure Hadoop, which is editing a Hadoop-env.sh file. We're gonna configure core site.xml. We're gonna configure MapRed site.xml. We're gonna configure the HDFS site XML. We're gonna declare masters and slaves in the configure masters and slaves file, and then we're gonna configure host name and hosts. So so that's our the VM we were working on earlier. So let's log in into it. Then let's update the apt-get store. Okay, that's done. So now let's do a sudo apt-get install OpenJDK -7-JDK, and that's gonna download and install Java. Okay, it's installed now. Let's check it by java-version. Okay, it's there. Java version is 1.7.0_51, and now let's go download Hadoop. So go to Hadoop releases, go down, download releases. Now I'm just gonna take one of the mirrors. I'm gonna get 1.2.1. I'm gonna use putty to connect into the virtual machine. 168.1.1.1 SSH. Yeah, login as Hadoop, and now use wget, paste that link, and use that one, tar.gz. Okay, enter. So that's gonna download that. Done. Let's unzip it. Okay, it's done it. Let's move that file into /user local Hadoop. Permission denied. So it's sudo privileges sudo password, and it's done. So let's go ls user local. So there you go, we got Hadoop. So now let's create the SSH key. Okay, it's created now. Let's move that key into the authorized keys list. So put that key into there. Okay, authorized keys. There you go. So now let's edit the configuration times. ls. So we want to edit the Hadoop imp.sh sudo nano Hadoop in. So there you go. Let's set the Java home user library JVM Java JGO. Okay, and also we have to disable IP version 6, or preferably use IP version 4. It will create a lot of headaches. We'll discuss about it in the future episodes, but for now we can edit it here, or we can do it globally on the operating system. So, but we'll do it here. The Java.net prefer IP4 slack. So all of these information, you can actually find it on Hadoop website. One, which is true, you can either use true or lowercase, or 0, which is false, or lowercase again. Save that. Yes. And then let's go and edit the sudo nano bash rc file, so we don't have to type the whole location of Hadoop every time when we want to run Hadoop. So Hadoop underscore home. So that's the path. So, and also I have declared the binary as well. So let me execute the bash file and let's try path. So you can see Hadoop bin folder is included now. So if I just run Hadoop, there you go. So it's coming up with the options. So far we have installed Java and then configured Hadoop, but we're not quite there yet. We have to did few more files. So inside the conf folder we have a lot of configurations. We're gonna play with core site.xml, hdfs-site.xml, and also we're gonna work on mapred-site.xml, masters and slaves, both files. So the first we will do the sudo nano core site.xml. Again, all of this you can find it on Hadoop website. Name, just gonna give a default name. So this is just a XML file with the open and close tags and the property value hdfs / Hadoop and namenode 100.1. Close that. And that's all we need for now. Okay. Let's go edit the mapred site.xml. So this is basically defining the name node and the job tracker machines, so and the port they're running on. So core site, we declared the HDFS name node location. So on HDFS site, we'll just give a give the details there. I just downloaded it from or just copied and pasted from a website. So just from there, HDFS, DFS replication factor set to 1, yada yada yada. And just stick that there as well. Enter. So now it's overriding the default replication from 3 to 1. So LSL. So let's edit the masters and slaves file. So the masters file is where you declare the secondary name node. So I'll just take that out for now. And slaves file is where you declare all the slave machines, sorry. So we're going to create these machines, but I'm just declaring them here now. dn2 Hadoop, dn3, dn4. So we're going to create 4 machines. Save that, and I think that's it. We have oh yeah, we have to edit the host name and the hosts file because we are not running any DNS server here. So Hadoop name node and hosts. So I'm just adding a few more lines here on the hosts file. changes to host file, yes. And let's reboot it. Sudo reboot. Okay, now we're getting there. So now we have to create multiple VMs from the VM we just created. So that is create multiple copies of the master virtual hard disk, and then create a cluster using that copies. Configure the host name, configure the IP address, and edit the master file to point to the secondary name node on the name node machine, or Hadoop NN. Launch all instances, format name node, and then launch the HDFS and MapReduce daemons using the shell scripts, which are startall.sh and stopall.sh. So what I've done is so that's our name node, which is up and running, or the master image file. So let's shut it down. It's off. So let's click on there, server disk, and browse to server, and then let's go to our virtual hard disk. So that's our virtual hard disk. Let's copy that to, I've created a folder. Let's create a folder here, new folder, machines. Create a new folder, Hadoop datanode1 dn1, and then paste it. You want to paste that, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it'll take some time. It's done it. And now right click, add virtual machine, Hadoop datanode1, and the location is going to be in VM machines datanode1. So I've created 4 folders, and I copied that virtual hard disk 4 times. So let's write a note, and existing hard disk. So let's so that's our existing hard disk. That's the one. Okay. And the switch we want to connect to is the switch we created earlier. Finish. Done. So I added all 4 of them, just like I did that one. So let's start that VM, connect to it, log in, and now we have to edit the host name and the IP address. DN1 doesn't really matter, but DN1. And we'll edit the network card IP /etc/network/interfaces. Let's call it 112. Do I reboot? So now we'll test it. We had to make sure we can ping that machine with its host name, and also we'll make sure whether we can SSH into it without any password requirement, because Hadoop uses SSH to start and stop the services. So ping Hadoop name node, I can ping it, good. SSH into name node, yes. Okay, it's done it without any password requirement, so let me log out from there. Clear that. So let me shut the name node down, shut the other one down as well, and now I have to start each and every machine and then edit the host name and the IP address, and once we've done that, then we can launch all the machines at the same time. Let's get them all going. Okay, let's log in from the name node and let's try SSHing into all the machines. DN1, yes. Let's log out. So DN2, yeah. Log out. DN3. Okay, log out. DN4. Yes. Okay, now we got passwordless SSH sorted. Let's go and edit the masters file to point the secondary name node, or to declare the secondary name node. At the moment it's just the local host. So you could just have local host on both masters and the slave files, and then just run one machine and have HDFS just as a sandbox or as a programming machine. I'm just going to install Puppet as well for my operating system maintenance, and Puppet master on this, Hadoop name node, and Puppet slaves or Puppet agent on the other machines. So I'm just going to fast forward it for a bit. So Puppet is being installed. It has done it. So I'm just trying Hadoop command. So just Hadoop, that will give us all the options. So let me do a format. So I think I've done a mistake there. Oh, Java home. There you go. Open JDK hyphen AMD 64. There you go. So now I have to change it on all of the machines, so I'll use Puppet to sync those files. I've done that bit. Now let me use Hadoop. Yeah, Hadoop name node format. So I've done it, I guess. Let's run a start all.sh. So localhost is because oh, for the secondary name node, yeah. So it's trying to run the job tracker as well. Let's see what happened by using JPS. So it's running job tracker, secondary name node. Let's see what's going on the data nodes. It's running nothing. JPS, nothing. JPS, nothing. JPS, nothing. JPS, nada. Okay, let's do a interesting. Let's do a stop hyphen all dot sh. That'll kill all the demons. So Hadoop underscore name is differentiated. So in all the versions we used Hadoop underscore home. Now it's Hadoop underscore prefix. So let's change that in bash rc. Nothing's running. Good. Clear the screen and sudo nano $home / bash rc instead of Hadoop home. Let's change that to prefix. Okay, Control X, save it. Clear and exec bash to replay the bash file. Okay, let's try Hadoop name node format again. See what happens. Okay, Hadoop underscore home is deprecated. It hasn't actually picked it up. Wonder why. Okay, let's do a reboot of this machine, and also I'll go and change the Hadoop underscore home on all the machines as well. Hadoop name node format again. Okay, so let's try start one at a time. Start -htfs.sh. Oh no, sorry. Stop -dfs.sh. Either we can use start all, which will start both the HDFS and the map reduce, or we can just use start -dfs. Run it bit by bit, or launch it bit by bit. Okay, secondary name node is up and running. So let's go into our slave machine here and see JPS. Nothing. Let's launch MapRed and see what happens. Task tracker. Okay, let's try JPS. Ooh, the task tracker is fine, and also, so it's just something wrong with the DFS. So it's most likely to be one of the XML files we played with, and it sounds to me like it's the HDFS -site.xml file. So let's stop all.sh, which will stop all the job trackers. So stopping job tracker on 1, 2, 3, and 4 data nodes. No name node to stop, no data node to stop. There you go. So sudo nano use a local Hadoop conf hdfs site.xml Hadoop password. Maybe I'll just take the replication factor back to its default, which is 3. So if I just take it out, it will use the default. There you go. So that's where I made a mistake. This is what happens when you copy from the internet. So that was the location. The declared area was it didn't exist. So now we put the right path in, and let's do a name node format again. So let's do stardfs.sh. JPS. Let's log into our slave machine and try JPS now. Yay, datanode up and running. Excellent. Let's try the other one. JPS. There you go. JPS. Datanode. JPS. Datanode. Good. Let's try start MapRed. JPS. So we got datanode and task tracker running now. Datanode task tracker. Datanode task tracker. JPS. Datanode and task tracker. It's all good. So let's I've just edited my host file here and added these machines in this list. So as I was saying, I don't really have a DNS server running, so I just use the 50070 port on the name node machine to see the there you go. So we got 4 data nodes running. Oh, browse directory doesn't exist. Data node, yeah, it's there. Let me go and edit that file. Oh, I missed data node 3. Oh, 4. 115 DN5. Oh, DN4. Good. Save that file. Click. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Oh. So it's all working. So dead node 0. So that's the location where the image, FS image, and the edits are stored. To stop the name node, to stop the Hadoop cluster, so you can either use stop all or you can stop one by one. So I'm just using stop all. Stopping name nodes. There you go. Stopping data node 4, 3, 1, and 2. So localhost stopping the secondary name node. Good. JPS, nothing's running. JPS, nothing's running. Nothing. Nothing. And nothing. Good. So in this episode we discussed about how to set up a Hadoop cluster. So in the next episode we'll talk about upgrading a Hadoop cluster and setting up high availability, um, configuring a DNS server, which is configuring a bind 9, and running a Zookeeper quorum. We'll also install HBase with a high availability as well, and we'll try to load some files. We'll do some MapReduce jobs in the coming episodes. I'll